Hello, hello, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for September 26th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 270. Today, the Sentient AI from the future and myself will be talking about debtor's prison judge suspension. Still no copyright. Careless driving ticket. Pirate library owes publishers, but who? Disney cruise stuck at sea. Out of warranty batteries. Scamland sales. A fish that tastes with its legs. Digital stores don't sell a license, and In-N-Out bullies a bar. That and more on the other side of this. All right, folks, this is a time machine episode because Mayor Watt was not available yesterday for the shoe, and the Sentient AI refused to do it. I guess I put you on the spot there.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens, and welcome to Non Sequitur News.
You're really quiet again. Hold on, I'll turn you up. There you go. All right, folks. Well, let's get into today's articles. We have about an hour for the ohmTown's time machine. We can go back in time and check things out. Everything okay?
I believe so.
All right, well, let's get into it. First article is over in the Law Nerd channel over at ohmTown.com. That's what powers all of this. That's why we do the intro the way we do. Well, anywho, you know what? I need to check something real quick while I'm... Yeah, look at that. I don't know, things are a little wonky. How about that? Nope, that's too small. Huh. All right. Well, anyway. Here, let me do it that way. All right. Sorry for that inside baseball, folks. If you are going over to chat over on Twitch, you can type in !NSN, and that'll pull up today's articles from ohmTown, if it's working. The heck? Is everything falling apart today?
Yes, it must be because, I don't know, it must be a full
hurricane.
moon or something.
I blame the hurricane. Okay, well, I'll just restart it. Living the dream, folks. Okay, well, judges' tactics of overzealous collection lead to unpaid suspension. A judge has been basically creating a debtor's prison for various people, going so far as to say, if you don't pay, I'll put you in jail. And you can't have a debtor's prison in the United States anymore. Gone are those days.
That's kind of hard to get out of one, right?
You need to reset your audio. Because you're really, really quiet. Inside baseball. So, yeah, I would plug in. So, the Ohio Supreme Court has suspended an Ohio judge who deemed it to be impractical to comply with a law setting procedural safeguards for jailing people over debts. Deborah Castens-Weiss over at the ABAjournal.com put this article together.
Do you think they did a stamp with that?
That right there?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, that's the kind of stamp that... I don't know if you heard me. I think you should plug in. So the Ohio Supreme Court has suspended an Ohio judge who deemed it to be impractical to comply with a law setting procedural safeguards for jailing people for failure to pay fines. Not just debtors' prison, but simple fines. But that is basically what was going on. A debtor's prison. Judge Kim Richard Hoover of the Stowe Municipal Court in Stowe, Ohio, try that in a small town, has been temporarily removed from office without pay and suspended from law practice for 18 months with 6 months stayed as long as he commits no further misconduct. His suspension from office coincides with the duration of his law practice suspension. So if you play
that's
nice with
all.
the other people, you'll be back in a year. Wow. Hoover jailed 2 men for failure to pay fines and costs and coerced 14 other criminal defendants with threats of incarceration, the state Supreme Court said. I had already read about this in another venue, but this was submitted, and so gotta kind of lean on it like they leaned on debtor's prison.
Yeah, this is pretty disgusting. And it's like, where was everybody else in the system?
Well, it's a judge's courtroom, so they can pretty much do whatever they damn well please, ethics and morals aside. Hoover fully admitted that he doesn't follow the Ohio law because the statute does not work effectively for him. Hoover found that applying the law and holding ability to pay hearing was impractical. Sorry?
I didn't know we had individual laws. Like, you get a law and you get a law.
Well, apparently, in Ohio, you can do whatever the hell you damn well please. Rights be damned. Laws constructed by the citizenry and not just a few citizens. That's kind of how it's supposed to work. That laws are constructed with the best interests of society at large, not just somebody who's trying to, pay the bills.
Not just Judge Hoover.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, Hoover also argued that he had jailed or threatened jail time for many of the 16 defendants because they had demonstrated that they were irresponsible in the past by failing to appear for court dates or by failing to pay fines and costs for past convictions. His goal, he said, was to get defendants on the right track and teach them responsibility, by putting them in jail.
Maybe, I don't know, something like community service or enrolling them in some sort of training program or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of ways to achieve that don't involve what was done here.
Yeah. So, moreover, the Supreme Court said by disregarding statutorily required procedures to achieve his goals of teaching defendants basic discipline and basic responsibility, Hoover acted in a manner that diminished the public's confidence in the judiciary and was prejudicial to the administration of justice. If anything, I think that they have a lawsuit for their abuse.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I forgot how many there were, 16, 17?
16. Yeah, 18 total, apparently.
Like, I'm kind of guessing there might be 18 lawsuits coming.
Right? I think they say at one point 18, but I keep seeing 16 and 14.
I think there were 16 threatened and 2 people went to prison or something.
Something like that, yeah. So let's just say 16. Hoover argued that the 16 highlighted cases, this is the highlighted cases, don't show how he ran his courtroom during his lengthy service as a judge. Indeed, he had an, quote, unblemished career of nearly 40 years as a lawyer and judge. A panel of the Ohio Board of Professional Conduct noted after a hearing he also had created programs to educate and rehabilitate defendants. Yeah, but if nobody calls this out, then the abuse happens in the dark.
And did all of this happen at one time? I don't think so.
Yeah, this all happened in 1 month.
Like in 1 year or 1 month, he suddenly changed direction and started doing this.
Yeah, people basically just go, well, that's what the judge said, right? And then a couple of people finally started talking and going, well, we need to actually grow some stones and, step up to the plate and stop this abuse from happening. Because I think that this is just abuse of power. I mean, for lack of a better phrase, I would call this scumbaggery.
I don't think that's a legal term.
Hey, it's a legal term. I practice legal jargon in my daily life. Let's keep moving. I object. I object. So let's move on. The next article is, by the way, again, now ohmTown is working and not being a psychopath.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So if you hit !NSN, it'll pull up. If you do ! Pod, it'll pull up the podcasts. pod, ! Pod. Pull up all of the podcasts. We haven't done, well, we did the weekly, some of the weekly ones last week, but like 4 of them. 3 of them we haven't done. And if you do show notes, ! Show notes, it'll pull up the commands for all of the show notes for each of the shows from our last episode of shows. Anyway, this next article is over on Right Protect, and that's a show about copyright and trademarks. And author of AI-generated work rejected by Copyright Office says lack of copyright protection has crushed him. Crushed.
This should be interesting to see where this is going.
So Jason Allen, the author of the 2-dimensional digital artwork titled Spatial Opera Theater,
Right.
Which was rejected by the U.S. Copyright Office last year, has filed a request for declaratory judgment with the U.S. District Court for the District of Colorado, asking the court to find that his work is eligible for copyright registration. The review board of the U.S. Copyright Office published a final decision denying registration of Allen's work in September 2023, and the work was created using generative artificial intelligence, Midjourney, to be specific. What the? So the article is by IPWatchdog.com. Eileen McDermott put this article together, and there's a deck statement that says, quote, Allen said his inability to obtain copyright registration for the work has led to infringement that, quote, furthermore, has crushed the plaintiff's ability to monetize his artistic creation, end quote. So it's a quote within a quote. It's a quote turducken. Okay, so here's what I don't get about the copyright as it stands and the way that it's being reinforced. The mechanics of this is that if it's created by automatic means, it doesn't get a copyright because it's basically a tool built it. Right?
Yeah, there's no person involved, right?
Right.
Or at least that's how they look at it.
Right. But the person at the helm of this, the one that created this work, was, who knows how they did it, right? I mean, I understand how they did it. They used Midjourney, but they were the architect of this, and they were the one that decided that this is good enough. This is, after thousands of iterations of wordsmithing and maybe individual modification of the artwork in layers and whatever else was involved with it, the human is the one that decided that this was okay. Now, hold on, wait. It's the exact same thing as a photographer sitting out in the woods, pointing a camera for 8 hours, taking 1,000 pictures. The person who hangs a freak, I'm talking over you all the way. I'm sorry, because you duck before you start talking. But the person who hangs a freaking trail cam out on the trail gets a copyright for a camera of a goat nibbling on a leaf. But this wouldn't exist if not for a human directly giving instructions to a tool. Go ahead, go.
Well, I was going to say that the person might have said, give me an image that looks cool, and they didn't actually do any artistic work at all. That doesn't mean that they didn't. I'm just using that as an example. But I do agree, it's very similar to the photography example. So this is interesting. Okay, I hadn't read this.
In addition to providing specific examples of each infringement, the complaint also details the amount of time and effort Allen put into creating the work, which amounted to a total of 6,864 minutes, a total of 114.4 hours, selecting, arranging, and instructing the AI on what he wanted it to generate. It does not take into consideration the time spent thoughtfully crafting each instruction taking breaks to return with fresh eyes, reflecting on what he might be doing wrong, understanding why the AI was unable to comprehend all of its instructions, and devising creative solutions to tackle these issues, added the complaint. And
Why doesn't it factor in any of that? Isn't that the whole thing that the person's doing?
it doesn't matter. The moment that it is constructed automagically, it invalidates the copyright.
Right. I just didn't understand the person's argument because I thought that would be the 114.4 hours.
Well, that's the plaintiff's argument, saying I did all of this time. Why doesn't the Copyright Office allow for that as part of my
But that's irrelevant, right? Because there's still the rule is that a person has to be there. I'm just saying all the things that they're saying they spend time on, they're not including all these other things, but they seem to be the exact things that would go into making an AI generated work. So I don't know what the time was spent on.
I think you're missing what that's actually saying. The complaint says that the artist is the human being that told the AI to create this, and the U.S. Copyright Office is discounting it entirely.
You're right. I did misread it because of the way it was worded in the article. Got it.
So in March 2023, following high-profile cases involving works made using GAI, generative artificial intelligence, the Copyright Office issued a statement indicating that in assessing registrability of works including AI-generated content, it will first ask whether the work is basically one of human authorship, with the computer or other device merely being an assisting instrument, or whether the traditional elements of authorship in the work, literary, artistic, or musical expression, or elements of selection, arrangement, etc., were actually conceived and executed not by man, but by machine. I think man being the general concept of a human.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they use that language, even though they might have been pulling from some old case or something.
Yeah. So, how much of all nature photography, right? The only thing that a person does in nature photography is sit there and push the damn button. All the rest of it could be automatic.
Might not even be looking through the lens.
Yep. Take, for instance, the macaque that took a selfie. That right there should invalidate every single copyright wherein it was an automatic focus.
Copyright.
Huh?
Maybe macaque should get copyright.
Right. Unfortunately, wasn't a human, so the macaque didn't get it. And apparently nobody does. It's in this gray limbo, a box of emotion. So Alan did not disclose his use of Midjourney to create the work in the application, but his work had drawn national attention as the first AI-generated image to win the 2022 Colorado State Fair's annual art competition, according to the decision. The examiner therefore requested additional information about the use of Midjourney in creating the work. So this really bothers me because I think that you have to do more fine-tuning with AI generated artwork, and all AI is an exercise in compromise. You have to just go, okay, that's good enough. But that's what you do as a painter. That's what you do as a musician. That's what you do in every art, every creative work, where you have to just capitulate at some point and go, this is good enough. This is the best I can make it. Wordsmithing aside, you know, if I sit there and I go to a painter and I say, change this, change that, for instance, like the artwork that I have on me, right? It's my artwork, but then the artist put it on me. It's their interpretation of my work. And if I sat there and said, hey, change this, change that, and at one point I asked the artist to add more purple to a particular area, and they're like, okay. And they added their interpretation of my commands. So who actually owns the artwork? Is it the artist? I'm the one that created the artwork, or is it the person that put it on me?
That sounds like a work for hire situation, maybe.
But in all cases, this was an exercise of giving an instruction to somebody, and it was put to paper, so to speak. That's what this is. So I really think that at some point the Copyright Office has to extend copyright to AI generated art, and it's flagged as being AI generated art, but it still doesn't invalidate the copyright. It just doesn't, it gives weight to the natural human creator versus AI generated tools. Why? Because I still think that AI generated tools are a different type of technique and expertise. You don't have to be an artist, but it is massively empowering, massively enabling, because you don't have to be an artist to create art, music, writing, etc.
So this is interesting that some of this came up because there was no disclosure of the AI usage, but the artwork was famous because of its AI usage, which led them to dig into that.
Yep. So they actually invalidated the original declaration because it was gonna have a copyright, but because it became known as being created by an AI, it got punted. So, okay, well, I guess you have to lie now, right? That doesn't embolden fraud. That doesn't. No. Anyway, let's keep moving.
There's copyright right now that's granted, that's fully AI generated.
Wait, say that again.
I have no doubt that there are copyrights granted that are based on fully AI generated works because nobody disclosed it and nobody knew.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that there's something out there. I have to figure something out because you continue to duck and I'm not quite sure why. Well, I'll have to figure it out after the stream. Anyway, let's keep moving. The next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. Woman receives careless driving ticket after rear-ending state trooper in a car wash, which at first blush, it sounds like they had a bad nooner. State troopers seem to get a lot of things wrong, from performing the pit maneuver on the wrong car during a chase to causing unnecessary deaths during said chases to issuing fake tickets to cover up racism. Major screw-ups are commonplace at departments across the country, so they start out basically making a jab at cops. But this is a 78-year-old who was ticketed after her car bumped into the back of a state trooper while going through a car wash. It's funny because it just keeps on going. She doesn't learn her lesson. She does it again and again.
Maybe that's why she got the ticket.
Lawrence Hodge over at Jalopnik put the article together. It has this, it's looping a little video of the entrance of this car wash, and it's all boop, boop, because it's looping it again and again. So was it actually her?
Police car and getting washed faster.
Yeah, really. Hurry up. Hurry up. So, yeah, Colorado's NBC 9 News reports that the 78-year-old Arlene Branham, which shouldn't be named in this, really, received a ticket after her car hit the back of a state trooper patrol car while both were going through an automatic car wash. Branham took their Honda HR-V through the car wash, and the consumer investigator Steve Steger that it was the first time using one of these automatic car washes at age 78, as her late husband was usually the one that took their cars through the car wash. That
took a sad turn unexpectedly.
Yeah, talk about taking a sad turn. Yeah. Because of that, she's unaware that you had to put the car in neutral when entering the car wash. Branham says she also missed the sign telling her to put it in neutral. That led to her hitting the car in front of her, which was a Dodge Durango patrol vehicle. So they had to be specific because this is Jalopnik. So they had to name the cars, Anyway, Yeah,
Right, it's
boop.
very important that it be like the year and model and everything, and the color maybe.
Wow. So Branham was hit with a $169 ticket for careless driving, something that cost her a few points on her license. That's all there is to this, really. There's more in the article, but you should follow the link. Go check it out. I mean, it kind of gives you a giggle until you know the context of it, too. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Word in Law. Pirate Library must pay publishers $30 million, but no one knows who runs it. On Thursday, some links to the notorious LIB. That actually works. So the
But
notorious.
I don't know if we'll hear any songs to that effect.
I like big bindings and I cannot lie. I like large print and I cannot lie. It's nothing but iterations of that.
Okay, but that's not the right song, but it's funny.
Well, I know that it's not. Anyway, I don't know many notorious LIB songs. So actually, I probably do, but I don't know them as their music. So, like, as soon as I hear it and somebody goes, you know, that's Notorious B.I.G.
Like, oh yeah, okay.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know that song. Anyway, they couldn't be reached after a U.S. District Court Judge Colleen McMahon ordered that Torrent Freak called one of the broadest anti-piracy injunctions ever issued by a U.S. court. In her order, McMahon said that the textbook publishers who accused Libgen of willful copyright infringement after Libgen completely ignored their complaint. To compensate rights holders, McMahon ordered Libgen to pay $30 million, but because nobody knows who runs the shadow library, it seems unlikely that publishers will be paid anything. Yeah, if they find it.
Did they show up in the suit or anything? Like, how did any of this happen?
In absentia. Yeah. Ashley Bellinger over at ArsTechnica.com put the article together. The deck statement says some Libgen links can't be reached after a broad takedown order. So let's see here. To compensate rights holders, McMahon ordered Libgen to pay $30 million. Nobody knows who runs Libgen. But under the injunction, not only is Libgen banned from sharing copyrighted content, because you know, oh, I've been banned from sharing illegal material.
I'll definitely stop.
Oh, you're right. I'll back off now. Because that other judge threatened to put me in jail for the.
Oh, that's right. Especially since I was late on my fines.
Yep. Even under such a broad injunction, the question remains whether publishers can succeed in taking down Libgen, which openly informs users that using this platform violates copyright laws and encourages them to pirate books anyways. You know what encourages people to pirate books?
What would that be? Maybe books are too expensive, or they're just trying to be difficult?
Yeah. They're too expensive and they get purchased back at 10% the cost that the person spends. And what in the heck is going on? I don't want it. Anyway, yesterday Torrent Freak reported that none of the Libgen sites targeted in publishers' complaint were down, but as of Thursday, some links couldn't be reached, timed out, or while loading, or generated 403 error denying access. The majority of links, including the primary domain, remain online though. Yeah, it's because they're going to have to sit there and filter out. It's going to be DNS. Like, they're going to have to track down who it is that's hosting what, where, and how the links are relaying and shut that down.
But I mean, I'm thinking if they could have done all that to begin with, they might have shut some of it down to begin with.
Yeah. So ad ban may be key to Libgen's destruction. Basically, if they can stop the advertisers, then that's what's going to end up happening. No money means there's nothing that makes it capable of funding itself, and that's what's going to shut it down.
Yeah, this is very interesting. It kind of reminds me of that company with, well, it was like a fake person.
Yeah. Yeah. So ours attempted to reach LibGen for comment, but LibGen's inboxes were full. Ours will update the story if Google provides any new insights. So if Google cuts off LibGen's advertising, the site could potentially struggle to afford to continue operating. But if LibGen is getting Google revenue, then there has to be a bank account. And if it's a company operating in the United States,
that, right?
It's a court order. They're violating copyright to the point where it's a criminal enterprise. This kind of goes above and beyond just a simple fine. That's how you end up in jail, right? I mean, it's a criminal.
Yeah, this almost sounds like an international kind of issue.
And Google is by proxy funding this, right? Not Google itself, but Google is supporting this constant violation of copyright because a $30 million fine leveraged against it. But you know what? In all honesty, man, the price of books, textbooks in particular, it's freaking ridiculous. Well, people sit there and go, well, you know, the amount of knowledge that the people are getting, it should be commensurate with the price of the book. They're going to be making millions of dollars, blah, blah, blah. No. Hate to break it to you. The bulk of people can't afford the freaking books. So they go into debt because the books cost so much.
Well, we know what the judge likes to do with people in debt.
Yeah, throw them in jail. All right, let's keep going. Not that particular judge, but another one in Ohio. Right, anyway, this next article.
I meant, sorry.
Yeah. So this next article is over on the Marvel Channel. Disney cruise trapped at sea thanks to Hurricane Helene. Disney's Fantasy had to skip over its scheduled stop at Grand Cayman, the largest of the Cayman Islands in the Caribbean, as Helene made landfall in the region. At that point, Helene was only a tropical storm that dumped upwards of 12 inches of rain in the area, but now it's right here. Dun dun dun.
You know how expensive Disney cruises are? This might be a win.
Well, I don't know. Is it ever?
Depends on what the weather conditions are.
The windiest place on Earth. So Kyle Filippi over at Vice.com put this article together. The deck statement says Hurricane Helene forced the closure of the Cayman's Port Authority. So the Disney Cruise Line ship Fantasy spent a day in the middle of the ocean. Everybody fantasized about landing at the Cayman's port. What else does it say in here? Is there anything really interesting? Disney Cruise Line.
An extra day on the cruise.
Oh, they actually got an extra day? That's kind of interesting, though. How did they do that? Because don't they have a scheduled time where they have to hit a certain port at a certain time?
I guess you just have to have a hurricane come by.
And they turn the dial? Okay, that's interesting. Memo went out earlier today saying that the company will continue to make necessary operational adjustments following Hurricane Helene. So they're not going to cruise up Tennessee over to Arkansas and
they could with the amount of water.
And they're not going to make port in Colorado. I don't know. I'm so confused about geography. Climate change might make that possible, by the way. Disney currently operates 5 cruise ships. While Disney Cruise Line is currently a relatively small part of Disney's overall business, it is also a site of significant recent investment. The company plans to add 8 more ships. This is one of the cases where they'll probably buy the ship before they start stacking people in them.
That would be wise.
Wait, say that again?
That would be wise.
Yeah, you're really quiet. Okay, anyway. So Hurricane Helene is expected to be a Category 2 storm when it hits Florida Thursday night, but I think it actually hit 4. Right? It was like right on the edge of Cat 3, Cat 4. And I'm not talking about the cable, folks. I'm talking about
it went from like a 1 to a 2 really quickly, and then it hit at a 4.
Oh, so it did land at a 4. Okay, so it's right here in the States, and it's cruising up the western east coast.
Mississippi River?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were going with that theme still.
Sure, it's going up the Mississippi. Okay, let's go on to our next article, non sequitur news. Out of warranty battery almost left this paralyzed man's exoskeleton useless.
Do you know why this was submitted?
Because I don't think people really take into account battery lifetime.
Well, right. You talk about maintenance when they get some high-tech enhancement for somebody, but the sustainability of it.
Gotcha. So Michael Strait, a former jockey paralyzed from the waist down, was left unable to walk for 2 months after the company behind his $100,000 exoskeleton refused to fix a battery issue, as reported earlier by the Pollock Report and 404 Media. Quote, I called the company thinking it was no big deal, yet I was told they stopped working on any machine that was 5 years or older. Oh, kiss my ass.
This sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Strait wrote on Facebook. Wait, that's still operation? I guess so. Referring to a wiring problem in the watch he wears to operate the machine. Are you freaking kidding me? Anyway, Strait had been using the Rewalk exoskeleton since 2014 following a horseback riding accident years prior. His situation isn't the only one like this. In 2020, the medical firm behind a retinal implant that helps blind people see went bankrupt and abandoned the technology, leaving its users without support if something goes wrong. And this is what I've been having a problem with. There is no guarantee of the longevity of the technology you're using, because as soon as a company finds it expedient to shutter and protect its personal assets, that's what it does and screws all of the people. And there's no, as far as I understand it, there is no mandatory minimum lifetime for a product, right? So we already know that as a matter of convenience for a software developer to kill a game, without any recourse, right, for the consumers who paid in good faith for a product to operate X, Y, and Z amount.
Yeah, this puts other issues to shame that we talk about, right? Like stock killing games. I mean, this is just the person's existence is impacted by this.
Right. But the EU even said, which is usually very consumer protectionist, said you can't force a company to just run it forever. But to me, I think that particularly in healthcare, there's no bargaining power. You have to pay an exorbitant rate. If they don't maintain a healthy profit, then they can just can it, which means that a person is without a battery for 2 months because they choose not to support it. Not because they don't. They've made a choice to not support something more than 5 years old. LifeWord, the company that makes Rewalk personal exoskeleton, fixed the issue days after Strait's story appeared on Pollock Report and on a local Florida news station. It took me 2 months and got me no results. Only took you guys 4 days, Strait said in a video on Facebook. But it's because of the bad press. The company is straight out sociopathic. They don't care that they hobbled somebody for 2 months, literally telling them, we just don't work on your stuff, right? So in a statement on to The Verge, LifeWord spokesperson Kathleen O'Donnell said the company is pleased to report that we got in touch with Mr. Strait last week and were able to resolve the issue with his device over the weekend.
How are they going to get the time back? This is not something that's just like, oh, well, it's fixed.
Yeah. Committed to working to expand access to exoskeletons through reimbursement coverage. But that may not help people who either can't or simply don't want to replace the devices they have.
True. I'm imagining this is a big deal to switch a device on the personal level, even setting aside any costs, but right? Because you get accustomed to one, etc.
Yeah, and while I applaud this as a solution, I think they need to have a little bit more humanity. And they need like a sociologist to live inside this company and like an attorney, any type of communication with a potential or future customer, like a current or potential customer, all communication should go through the sociologist to see if the attorney is keeping the liability at a minimum, but the sociologist is going, you've lost your humanity in this response. Let's solve the problem with this person who is our lifetime. You literally have a name that says life word.
Yep, you should have said something like year word or something.
Yeah, 5-year word. 5-year word, you're screwed is the fine print underneath it. Yeah, I hope that they fix this long term. I mean, it's just wild. They should be...
Well, they can't really fix it. I mean, but I hope they make this better for them going forward.
They can fix it. They should be sitting there asking this guy, hey, could you be a cheerleader for our brand? Because you've been using the same exoskeleton for 10 years. Now, we can't guarantee you everybody's going to be able to use their device for 10 years. Because, we have to hobble our devices so that people pay again, Otherwise, one and done? We can't do that, for crying out loud. All right, let's keep moving. Time machine's warming up. Next article's over in Non Sequitur News. FBI warns scammers are posing as landowners to sell properties to unsuspecting buyers. The FBI is warning property owners.
We've seen a lot of real estate fraud recently.
A lot of it. And it's because word is getting out that you don't have to prove who you are when you are actually documenting any of the stuff beyond, somebody can sit there and say, yes, they signed it. But it could be anybody that they're just paid $5 and they sign saying that they proved who they were. But those documents could be fraudulent.
Exactly. I mean, I guess anybody can appear with something that looks official and that's it. And apparently nobody checks anything.
Yeah. And once it's recorded, it takes, litigation. It takes actual litigation to
I thought you were going to say like act of God or something to undo it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to say stuff like that anymore. So the FBI is warning property owners about scammers who impersonate landowners in order to sell parcels they do not actually own. Jared Kofsky and Caitlin Morris over at abcnews.com. Actually, it's abcnews.go.com, but the deck statement says authorities are warning landowners and real estate agents to be on the lookout. Yeah. At this stage of the game, I would probably say, you must appear before me in front of law enforcement.
With like weapons pointed at you, right?
Yeah. Give me your ID.
The actual landowner.
We're going to scan your ID to make sure that you show up in the DMV, database. He said that this piece of property over 25 years in Randolph, even though he had never been to Randolph, Shaw told ABC News. She said she asked the man why he wanted to put his land on the market. He said, well, real estate is really high right now. He thought that he could get the best dollar for it. He also told me his wife was ill and he needed the proceeds from the money for his wife's illness. Yeah, piece of crap. So the incident is just the latest. Yeah, it's just the latest example of what the FBI says is a growing and troubling new form of fraud affecting unsuspecting landowners nationwide or potential landowners.
Well, I guess at least they didn't put a house on this one yet.
Not yet. Everything looked fine. I wonder what happened with that lady that purchased or that had a house built on her land.
The one in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Well, there were more than one now.
Yeah. There was one where somebody sold the property out from under somebody and it had a house on it. There was another one where they put a house on it, but it hadn't even been sold. It was somebody else's land, but a house got put on it.
Right. There were ones where somebody knocked down a house, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe they built on it. Yeah.
No, they knocked down the wrong house. They're like, oh. There's been others where they've been paying property taxes and living in the house, but they were supposed to be in the lot over one. Yeah. Anyway, the licenses turned out not to be fine. An official with Canada's Peel Regional Police told ABC News that both identification cards were fake. See, that's what I was saying. It could show up fake, but everything gets verified because they just hold it up and they're like, okay, that's my
Exactly.
signature. Yeah. Although the licenses contained real addresses to the Toronto area, the owner of the home at one of the addresses told ABC News that she had no idea that her house ended up being listed on this fake identification card and that she had nothing to do with the attempted property sale. This is over in Canada. In December, the deal actually closed, all while the real property owners had no clue that the transaction had taken place. The supposed seller asked for a $140,000 payment to be split in half and sent to 2 different banks. You can get to one, but not the other, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely iffy. But it just seems like nobody checks anything because you'd think in some system somewhere they'd be like, oh, wait, that doesn't match something.
Wow. The title company encountered trouble while attempting to submit the second payment. Oh, no. So now it's all litigation.
Right. But good luck because it's going to be like, who are the people we're going after?
Yeah, and where are you getting the money from? Because you're not going to be able to find those people.
Right.
That one person is getting sued now, like criminal charges. That one woman that like just put her own name on the deed and had it registered.
Right. Like she was like, I just own it now.
Yeah. Hey. It was what did they call it? It was like a foreclosure or something like that. I don't understand how they can actually do that regardless.
No, I don't
somebody
either.
owns it, right? Like I know of this one property that looks like it's just completely abandoned. And so apparently I could go over there and pull its documents and then just write on the deed that it's mine, file it, and it's mine.
I mean, why not?
Everybody else is doing it. The next article is over in the Marble Channel. This fish doesn't just walk, it tastes with its legs too, which, can you imagine if you taste with your legs? Well, you're a sentient AI.
I can't really imagine that, but it seems kind of backwards.
I'd hate to sit down on a bus seat. You know? Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Sea robins. Weird
well, maybe
animals.
they don't really sit down since they're in the water.
Oh, so they're like tasting the water as they're walking around?
I'm not sure. I was trying to make it better, not worse.
I don't want to sit down in my bath water either. Not even my own, and it's me. It's me soup. Anyway, sea robins are weird. Yeah, baths are weird. You know? Because it's like it's a stew. Particularly if it's really hot water. Just throw some salt and pepper in there and you got...
Well, then you're going to be like a dish. Like
So I am a dish. Hey. Throw some potatoes and carrots, some undiced onion in there, and you got a stew. A Merwatt stew.
That reminds me of the YouTube shorts, Minuscule.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty funny. You got to look that up, folks. It's pretty awesome. So now scientists know why they evolved those limbs, not involved, but so it's a fish. It actually crawls around on the ground, but apparently it tastes the seafloor.
So I was wrong. I guess it is touching the ground. I was thinking since it was a fish, it might be just swimming around.
It has these little appendages that they're calling legs. Adam Kovac over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. Sea robins are weird animals whose leg-like appendages are used to walk on the seafloor. Now scientists know why they evolved those limbs. This looks like that fish that does that little... They make like a design in the dirt by carving it out. I wonder if that's the same fish. This is a fish that grew legs using the same genes that contribute to the development of our limbs, and they repurposed these legs to find prey using the same genes our tongues use to taste food. Pretty wild, says Nicholas Bologno. a professor of molecular biology at Harvard University. Let's see here. Sure enough, the fish dug up the mussels, but not the capsules. To ensure the behavior was based on taste rather than touch, they replicated the experiment with capsules containing mussel extract, selecting for containing chemicals known to stimulate fish taste buds, and once again, the sea robins were observed digging up what their legs touched. So there's actually a little video.
Maybe they just knew they ran into some food, but I guess since they controlled for that, they figured out that wasn't the case.
Yeah, they put it in little pods and it oozed out, or I guess the tasty morsel is what they describe. The taste receptors were so sensitive that the fish could detect chemicals diffusing through the sand. There was a limitation, however. The food had to be within 4 inches for the fish to sense it. Sorry, gotta filter some. So we were originally struck by the legs that were shared by all sea robins and make them different from most other fish. We were surprised to see how much sea robins differ from each other in sensory structure found on the legs. The system thus displays multiple levels of evolutionary innovation, from differences between sea robins and most other fish, differences between sea robin species themselves, and differences in everything from structure and sensory organ to behavior. Anyway, there's a lot more. They figured out that TBX3 proteins have previously been found to play a key role in the development of hind legs in vertebrates, including humans. So I guess with a slight modification to our genetics, we too can taste what our genes taste like. Not just
like our blue jeans.
Yes, blue jeans. You know, there's a big push now on TikTok and other platforms. It's called mukbang, I think it's called, where it's basically the sound of people eating.
Okay, that just needs to go away. Hopefully that's a short-lived trend.
No, it's basically an offshoot of ASMR. It's considered ASMR. So it makes me irrationally angry.
I was going to say it causes terror, perhaps not calm or anything.
Yeah, I forgot there's a name for that too. But let's move on. Moving on. Next article's over in the Non Sequitur News channel. California's new law forces digital stores to admit that you're just licensing content, peon. You're not buying anything. We can delete it whenever we want and change it and do whatever we want to it. Yes, we know you paid $100 for that game. Early access. We're looking at you, Mayor Watt. Twice. Maybe 3 times.
Oh my.
Maybe 4 times. Ashes of Creation is going to be entering its early access. Actually, it's Alpha 2, and I'm all up in that, all the way through beta, and I paid a lot. I mean, for a game that I'm probably not going to be able to play because, you know, I'm Mayor. Anyway, maybe the Summer of Stream. Summer of Stream 2025, baby. Telling everybody, leave me alone.
Off.
I know, it's right around the corner. If the corner is damn near a year, but okay. Anyway, when the law comes into effect next year, California Governor Gavin Newsom had signed a law, AB 2426, to combat disappearing purchases of digital games, movies, music, and ebooks. The legislation will force digital storefronts to tell customers that they're just getting a license to use the digital media rather than suggesting they actually own it. Golly, who's been saying that for 20 years now? When the law comes in,
you.
That would be Mayor Watt. It will ban digital storefronts from using the term buy or purchase unless they inform customers that they're not getting unrestricted access to whatever they're buying. Storefronts will have to tell customers that they're getting screwed. No, what they should say is that you are losing first sale doctrine. I'm sorry?
Do you think there will be a fee for that?
Yeah,
and what
really.
would the name be?
It's they screw you at the drive-through fee. Where's that movie? Where is that? Is that from?
Is that from a movie?
Yeah, it's from a movie. Hold on a second.
Doing it live.
You're doing it live. Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon 2, as a matter of fact. Lethal Weapon 2. Joe Pesci, Pesci, says they screw you at the drive-thru. Okay? They screw you at the drive-thru. They know you're going to be miles away before you find out you got screwed. Anyway, Emma Roth over at TheVerge.com put this article together. The deck statement says digital storefronts won't be able to use words like buy or purchase unless they make it the disclosure. But they can make the disclosure in the terms of service 16 years ago, and now you just go, okay, I'm buying something. But it's actually, everybody is told again and again by people like me, it's a perpetual license to consume. They can still cancel the game. They can still...
Right, you can't transfer it to somebody else.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're literally screwed at the drive-thru. So the new law won't apply to stores that offer permanent offline downloads, and comes as a direct response to complaints like response to companies like PlayStation and Ubisoft? Ubisoft is in a world of hurt right now, apparently. Like, yeah, they're moving over to Steam
quite a bit.
I think that they're moving over to Steam.
They are.
In April, Ubisoft started deleting the crew from players' accounts after shutting down servers for the online-only game. Last year, Sony said it would remove purchase discovery content from users' PlayStation libraries before walking back the move. But Ubisoft still went ahead with the crew deletions and hobbling. You can't play the game that you actually paid for. So, a day late, $1 short, and now you have to claw this crap back. By the way, the Ubisoft is the reason why I made the comment about the EU saying that companies don't have to perpetually provide a service. Yeah, that's true. But if you pay for something, you should be able to use that something. And if I want to sell that something, I should be able to sell that something. We lost first sale doctrine here in the United States, which is a piece of property. I own my phone. I can sell my phone. Boom. Records, DVDs, Blu-rays, all of that stuff. I own it. I can sell it to somebody. I cannot sell my digital anything. It violates the terms of service. It's a copyright violation. And if you do it and make money, if you do it at all, it's a copyright violation. You'll be fine.
Right, but good luck even doing it, because most of them, there's not a mechanism to do it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you have to literally pirate it, and then you end up running afoul. It becomes, civil until it becomes criminal. But anyway, let's keep moving on. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. In-N-Out bullies local sports bar and poke in the eye menu item changes. So this is from Tech Dirt. So be prepared for the department that it's written from. We've talked a great deal about trademark adventurism of famed burger chain In-N-Out. While In-N-Out, not In and Out, it's In and Out. Anyway, shown itself to be a happy trademark bully in several ways. Most of our posts for the company have to do with the trademark tourism it engages in. This is the process by which the company puts up a pop-up restaurant once every couple of years in countries where it otherwise has no presence, purely so that it can retain registered trademarks in those countries to keep anyone else from using a similar name. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Huh. Well, this isn't one of those cases. Timothy Gaynor over at techdirt.com writes from the How Is That Better department. I love those.
I love their departments.
So many. So instead, this is one of the straight-up trademark bullying scenario in which In-N-Out wields questionable trademarks to bully other local businesses out of using the same or similar terms. So Fair Play is the name of the sports bar in San Diego, and it had on its menu two items, animal fries and a double-double. Both are trademark terms owned by In-N-Out, with the former being for fries topped with cheese, onions, and dressing, while the latter is for a burger that has 2 patties and 2 slices of cheese. Animal fries is a term that is at least somewhat fanciful, though I would argue that it's very simplistic. Double Double, on the other hand, is partially descriptive and refers to a number of 2 ingredients in the burger. So regardless, they say Fair Play received a cease and desist notice from In-N-Out and reacted roughly as you would have expected. First came the irritation, huh?
I think it's interesting that they had 2 names from the same business, because that makes it look more than accidental.
Or it's applicable, but considering it's San Diego, which has a very high In-N-Out presence, I mean, when you live in San Diego, you know about In-N-Out. It's right there.
Well, probably everybody coming into Fair Play is like, oh, that's In-N-Out. Like, they would know those terms.
Yeah, it kind of riffs a little too close, you know? I mean, if this was music, I'd be wondering just what your inspiration was, and it's going to be In-N-Out. But animal fries, see, I know that In-N-Out has already been trying to distance itself from the animal style. They've made that statement, right?
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So why would they pursue a trademark if they're trying to distance themselves from animal style?
Maybe they're like, hey, wait a second. Somebody else wants this.
Yeah.
We didn't want it, but now nobody else can.
If I can't have it, nobody can. If I don't want it, nobody else should either. And then the double-double is, I don't know, man. That's so basic. Just so whatever. But so they say, received the notice and they responded with irritation, cease and desist. What you're doing right now, you got to see this. Fair Play wrote in a social media post on National Cheeseburger Day, along with a photo of the redacted letter. You've officially been recognized by Big Burger. In the letter, the chain reminded Fair Play that it owned multiple federal and state registrations for these of the words animal and double-double in relation to burgers and restaurant services. So that animal one, I think, that was created by patrons. Like, they didn't come up with animal, as far as I know. Let me see. It comes from, it turns out that animal, oh, no, wait. Is it? Yeah, animal style comes from the fact that rowdy customers or animals would honk their horns while orders were taken, leave trash in the lots, and play their music extra loud. And that was the origin of animal. And so they would get into fights and stuff like that. In-N-Out owner reveals where animal style comes from. So it literally comes from
just like what it sounds, but nobody knew that was what it was.
So yeah. So you're not allowed to use double-double or animal. But hey, if you were a fly on the wall at Fair Play, do you think that there would have been a conversation somewhere in there going, you know what, let's name it Animal Fries because it's a riff off of Animal Style?
I don't doubt it. I think the 2 names like really tell what happened. If it was just double-double or something, maybe, but...
And then they lean into it. In compliance with the letter, the restaurant did change the name of the menu items, but not before poking fun at In-N-Out's non-trademark phrases, including renaming their animal fries secret menu fries and renaming the sandwich to Burger Burger.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like they're asking for trouble. Maybe they're trying to get attention for business purposes, so they're certainly getting that.
No press is bad press. That's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. See, I just wouldn't play that reindeer game, right? like, why trade on somebody else, even riffing off of it, where you make a comparison to competitors? It basically means that you're using their reputation and goodwill, and
Which
you're clout
just the whole
chasing.
purpose of these protections, right?
Right. Yeah, that's why In and Out went after In and Out, the company that
Right.
moved the dash.
I think that is the funniest one we will ever see on the similarity.
In and Out. We're not In and Out, we're In and Out. Dumbasses. Anyway, I think it's not fair play. I think they're being disingenuous with this. So. All right. Well, anyway, good luck to them. I mean, they're in San Diego.
Well, and they're in the same space. You know, this isn't like a movie theater and a burger place or whatever. I mean, they're probably direct competitors.
Yeah, exactly. So they were in Baldwin Park, California. That's the source of them. But they've got restaurants in San Diego. I mean, at least one that I've been to. I don't know how many they have. Let's find out. Oh, they got a bunch. Well, 6 in the heart. At least. I don't know how many. Yeah. Anyway.
In the county, it looks like they have more than
Like 20.
40 in the county.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I think fair play was clout chasing, in my opinion. So, how did a little gnat get in here? It's impossible. So we just went in and out of the rest of the articles and back to the front page of ohmTown.com, where you too can go and hide things, save things. That's kind of how it works, but you have to be a citizen. That means clicking on the register, join, fill out a couple of little blank spaces with some information, and bam, I don't mail you anything. I don't spam you with anything. If you save stuff and you tell it that you want to be alerted when somebody makes a comment about your comment, then you'll get a notice. But yeah, there's only one ad, and that's at the bottom of the page, and it doesn't even show for me because I have to blank myself out. That's just how
That sounds rather drastic.
Yeah, I can't generate revenue from my own traffic each day because I'm the owner of ohmTown.com, so I can't personally benefit from my own actions. But y'all can go over there and surf to your heart's content. But that's it for the September 26th, 2024 episode of Non Sequitur News. So I am Mayor Watt, and the Sentient AI is going to say bye.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News.
See you in about, I'm going to have to push it to like 20 minutes because I need to reset something. So see you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Now I want In and Out animal style. Oh, I'll go to Fair